UPB, How you doing? It is Thursday, February 27th, 2014. Baidu, I bring it up. They had earnings after the bell yesterday, and this is a stock I was talking about same time last year when it was down at this level, and Citigroup was continually downgrading the stock. It had a sell rating, actually reiterated that sell rating right here, and said, oh, and they used data from a couple months ago. So, Baidu's revenue is declining, blah, blah. Look at the earnings report from just last night. I mean, you can see they were at 110% wrong. Really, a little more than that. What is 80? About 120% wrong, right? And we're looking for a move. It was up over 187 yesterday after the bell. Stock's going to go over $200. People were talking about the race to 1,000 last year. Well, guess what? Baidu beat all of them, Priceline, Google, because it did a 10-for-1 forward split. So really, the current price implies $1,750 stock. Pretty wild. Baidu. So it hasn't been Voodoo. It's been Baidu. So a really nice move. This falling wedge worked out perfectly. You look at the blog at optionmillionaires.com. Stock was talking about this break, the move over 100 coming, and everyone being so bearish that it was going to see a sharp reversal. How about Sears Holdings? Sears Holdings reporting earnings this morning. And if we can get that stock to pull up, there we go. This is a long-term 5-year weekly chart. And if I go back a little bit further, you can see there's two lines I'm really looking at. We have the long-term trend line from 2007. We have the shorter-term trend line. You can actually bring this back because there's different areas here of support and resistance up in 2007. But really, we're looking at this resistance line. A break above this would bring the stock up to 60. And then if the stock can break out of this level, it's on like Donkey Kong. Massive short interest in the stock. You have investors, in spite of everybody's rationalization that Sears is a dead and dying company, still investing in the company. Why? Obviously, there's something going on behind the scenes that most people do not understand. JB at optionmillionaires.com, I think, understands the situation more than anyone else. He continues to buy the calls. He's been very successful in the past buying the options at this level recently and selling up here. So we're back down at this level again. We get to 60. If we break out over this long-term resistance line, we could be looking at $100, $120 for Sears Holdings. That would be crazy, and that would be all JB at optionmillionaires.com because he has he's got a thinking of what's really going on with this stock. It's not all about Sears Holdings. Maybe he'll get a chance to explain himself sometime in the future. Let's move on to TLT. TLT is the 20-year bond treasury ETF, which tracks the bond market, not on a whole because it's a longer duration, but if you look, we're over 108 now, and you see bonds have been rising. If you look over the last 3 months, look at this move up. We hit 109. This was on the recent emerging market fear, and then we're continuing up. So I think a move up to 109 is possible. I'm still very bearish on TLT. I think bonds are going to fall, but we have just a little bit of unrest over in Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine still a lot of violence going on there. That's getting people to get into bonds. But again, on the flip side, people are buying stocks as well. Look at the stock market. We hit our lows here in the emerging market fears, and we're up here. We're consolidating. We are right at resistance. This is the S&P 500 ETF, the spiders, as people like to call them. And so we're setting up here. What are we setting up for? I don't know. I think stocks, and if you look historically over the last couple of years, these V-bottoms that I've been talking about, I've coined that term yet, V-bottom. Some people like apple bottoms. Some people like big bottoms, small bottoms, thick bottoms, skinny bottoms. I like V-bottoms because I'm a stock trader. I'm not anything other than that. But if you look over a long term, we've had the V-bottoms. And you look from the long-term scale, it's obviously muted out some of these bottoms. This line really has no relevance as far as support and resistance is concerned. It just basically illustrates the upward trend of this marketplace. So, for instance, let's look at this V-bottom. Here we had back in the middle of, this was Cyprus, I think, last year. We had the V-bottom. We moved up higher, pulled back, another V-bottom. So it's going to be difficult to tell short-term where we're headed. Longer term, you just have to stay with the trend. I mean, the trend is not broken. If we start breaking down, we break down to the 160, 150 level, yeah, we're going to have trouble. We're going to have trouble. But for now, seemingly every dip has been bought. I talked about it again this morning. It's like trying to drown a beach ball in your swimming pool. You try and drown it. There it is. And then it just pops out and it blasts you in the face. Let's move on to some stocks. Tesla. I've been talking about Tesla for a long time here. And Tesla, let me just extend this line because I like to, there we go, extension. If you look from a long-term perspective, consolidated broke out to the upside. back in the summer of last year, you look at StockTwits and look at the blog at optionmillionaires.com, was talking about the stock heading to 390 and doing a forward split to make it a $45 or $39 stock, depending on how high it goes before it forward splits. Mainly because Bank of America Merrill Lynch remains steadfast in their sell rating on the stock. Now, through this recent spike, they have oddly been silent. There's been no reiteration of their sell rating on the stock. But I think it's going to get hit ultimately when the stock heads to 390 and does a 10-for-1 forward split. So there you go, Bank of America Merrill Lynch. But I was talking about this even back then, saying this was a $200 stock. I said it again in December. We bought the calls at optionmillionaires.com, made a lot of money. It pulled back, and we were just on fire. I shouldn't say that, really, because the stock's probably going to drop 10%. Somebody hears Tesla and fire at the same time. But yeah, seemingly just like the stock market, every headwind has been a buying opportunity. When the stock was doing so well, Goldman Sachs came out right over here and says, oh, told its clients sell. That was when the stock was at like $100. It went to 87. So you take one of the largest investment firms, one of the most trusted and reliable to some people, that comes out and puts a sell rating on a stock, tells its clients to sell, and then is wrong to the tune of 120% to the upside. I mean, nobody knows the stock. Nobody. Except me. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know the stock. But I did think it was going to continue to the upside. And the most ironic thing is, if you look back here, short interest down here is the same as it is up here. Meanwhile, you've got 5 times the amount of value for those shorts, meaning those shorts are a lot more money being bet for downside. So if the stock continues to the upside, those shorts are going to continually be squeezed. We're going to get margin calls. And this could go over $300, $350 just on a short squeeze alone. Nothing else. Nothing more than that. All right, that's Tesla. Let's move on to some stocks. We have earnings, and then I'll close it up with some stocks and charts that I like. We have DEC reporting earnings after the bell today, and you can see DEC is above the channel. Look at 80 support. We got a beautiful, and you can almost say this is a cup and handle formation, looking for 90. DEC. Some of the analysts came out really when it was down earlier this year in the 50s saying this is a $100 stock. We just might very well get that after the bell today. That's DEC. We have GAP, which is GPS. Funny, it's a GPS stock. I can't find it if I put in the ticker GAP. I put in GPS, it comes right up. You would think a stock like Garmin would have the ticker GPS, but it doesn't. Anyway, GPS or GAP stores looks, again, the chart looks very bullish. We can hit up to this all-time high. I don't think it's an all-time high. I shouldn't say that. Oh, it is. And then you would say up to the $45 level. We'll see. GAP stores, analysts are bullish on that as well. We have MNST, which has been beaten down from its all-time high. It's coming back. It's a comeback story. So we look for a move up to 80 for earnings. CRM, which analysts have really come around to recently. This is a stock that's done a forward split, like Tesla's going to do when it hits 450 or 390, depending on where Morgan Stanley's target is at that time. But you can see very bullish here. We have a nice move up from December. We're consolidating. I would expect to move up to the $70 level. We have Raw Stars. Raw Stars. I can't say that 10 times fast. Raw Stores. We've seen some of the discount retailers, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Big Lots, all rising yesterday significantly. So I would expect more of the same. Raw Stores can come out and say they're going bankrupt, but in this marketplace, that'll give a 10 to 15% move to the upside. I would look at $75 level here as first resistance. Good part about Raw Stars is not a lot of people trade it for earnings. So if we can get those $75 calls on the cheap, might be a buyer there. And then finally, before the bell tomorrow, we have Triple D, 3D Systems, reporting earnings. You can see there's a stock that was over almost $100. Looks like it's consolidating here. I would expect it to move higher, just like everything else in this market. Higher, higher. If somebody drops a nuclear bomb on a major city somewhere, that's bullish. That city's got to be rebuilt. Everything is dependent upon central banks and governments these days. So if we have a nation of starving people, that's bullish. That's bullish. They got to be fed. That's more printing money from the central banks. All right, UPB here, optionmillionaires.com. Yeah, so we have Tesla moving nicely. We have a lot of stocks breaking out to all-time highs. Priceline yesterday, Google. Apple struggling a little bit, though, curiously enough, but it'll come around. Everything's got to go up in this marketplace. Finally, let's do the Facebook. The Facebook, I was talking about this. Let me just pull in a short-term chart. I brought this up at StockTwits. You can look at yesterday afternoon. This beautiful head and shoulders topping pattern. It's short-term because you can say this is a head and shoulders topping pattern. We pulled back and then continued to rise. and you can almost put in another head and shoulders topping pattern. But here, could this be the top for Facebook? Stay tuned. I don't think so, but I am in some of the puts. I do think it's going to weaken significantly, whether it be today, tomorrow, the next day, the day after that. At some point it'll weaken. Maybe it'll be at $100. Maybe I'll be someone like that's trading Tesla for downside. I'll be wrong. I could be wrong 364 days, but that 365th day when I'm right, oh boy, I'm going to let you know. All right, UPB, optionmillionaires.com. I'll see you in the chat room if I get into any trades. Everyone have a great trading day. We were a week early. Let me just pull up the futures. These are bond futures. Let me pull up S&P 500 futures. Look at this move. We had the low here at about 6 a.m. Eastern time, and we've just been rallying. Go figure. When have we done that before? When have we sold off and just come right back to life? It's like, come on. What's wrong with you? All right, UPB here. I'll see everyone. Have a great trading day. Goodbye.